This phone right here probably shouldn't exist. Well, actually, it shouldn't be this good and be so difficult to buy. This is the Vivo X300 Ultra, and if you're in the UK, this is the best camera phone you probably can't buy right now. We talk about Ultra phones all the time, S26 Ultra, Xiaomi 17 Ultra, but Vivo's take on their Ultra phone is a little bit more different. They've always been known as the gimbal phone makers, but now they've created technically the most impressive imaging setup on a smartphone. But as you'd expect, there's a catch. There's always a catch. Let's talk about the giant circle on the back of the phone here. And straight up, it's a triple camera system with the main lens being a Sony 200 megapixel LYT-901 sensor with a 1/1.2 inch at 35mm equivalent focal length. Now, Vivo claims the reason for the 35mm is it's more of a replication of the human eye in terms of seeing things, so it has a narrower field of view versus the wider apertures you find on other Ultra phones. And let's break down that main lens. Despite the slightly narrower f1.9 aperture, you still get wonderful looking images with that familiar Vivo pop in colors and contrast. It's hard to find something that we don't really like. Dynamic range is great and background blur is also great. The images here are 12.5 megapixel and even at 25 megapixel shots, there's no drop off in quality. You could say some of these may have a slight softness to the look itself, but that's just really nitpicking. We can't really think of anything to complain about that 35mm camera lens, and the photos again are truly excellent, showing wide dynamic range, great colors and top class sharpness. Even at low light, the performance here is class leading with excellent photos with wide dynamic range, great colors and sharpness at the very best levels. The star of the show is this 200 megapixel Periscope telephoto at 85mm equivalent focal length, and it's the newest Samsung HP0 sensor with a 1/1.4 inch at 3.7x optical zoom. Now, the output from this lens is genuinely world class. High contrast, vivid colors here, and you're going to fall in love with the shots out of this lens. The shallow depth of field means subject isolation is great and you get no weird artifacting either. The telephoto camera's native output is also worthy of similar levels of praise. The photos are excellent sharpness, plenty of color pop without missteps in white balance and wide dynamic range. Moving to 170mm, the X300 Ultra's telephoto camera doesn't disappoint again, serving very good to excellent images, much of the color retained, as well as contrast. The low light images out of the telephoto, again, very similar to those in daylight, excellent sharpness and colors and pop and really wide dynamic range. You can use the telephoto again at 15 centimeters to get really close telemacro shots. And again, the quality is very, very good, sharp, detailed, and really nicely balanced. The 50 megapixel ultra wide here is a Sony LYT-818 with 40mm at focal length and 116 field of view. Now, unlike most ultra phones, there is no compromise here, and this isn't just a good looking lens, it's a great ultra wide lens with excellent capture, wide dynamic range, and colors are much like the main lens. They retain all of the Zeiss colors and pop, especially in daylight scenarios. The front sensor is a 50 megapixel, again, 24mm, and it's a little narrower than most ultra phones, but the output here is again excellent. Good detection of skin tone and color, as well as other aspects of in terms of depth of field, are also very, very good. In terms of video capabilities, you can output here max at 8K 30, but 4K 120 and 4K 30 are genuinely really, really good. I would say this is probably the best phone you can use right now from an Android point of view for video quality production. Tons of customization options and is not that far off the standard bearer, which is the iPhone. One thing to note here, all of the processing is delivered via a custom V3 Plus imaging chip that helps sort of create the incredibly detailed Zeiss color profile that you see. So we know the camera system is absolutely top tier, bleeding edge at the very, very top. But what about the other specs? They're equally insane. You get a 6600 mAh battery here with 100 watts of wired, 40 watts of wireless charging. And if you run this through 3D Mark's Lifestyle Extreme test at 100% battery, it will use around 10% through its full 20 cycles. One thing to note though is the temperatures here. peaked out at 51 degrees centigrade, which, to be fair, you're never going to realize in real life. This also is powered by the latest Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 as well, so gaming on here at high graphics and high FPS, say 120, games like Call of Duty Mobile will run absolutely flawlessly. Then, up front, it's a 5000 nits of peak brightness on this massive display with 144 Hz, and the display is absolutely top tier. But what I would say is you're never going to actually realize the 144 Hz because that's only supplemented to certain applications and games. You're generally, if you're using this, you're going to be knocking in around the 120 Hz, but it is a genuinely great overall experience. There is genuinely one thing to consider with this particular Vivo X300 Ultra, and that is relating to Chinese ROM and importing this phone in. But quickly, the OS, it runs OriginOS and it is brilliant, top tier, very customizable, runs very fast and smooth, tons of really great options, no problems here at all from our point of view. But if you did import this in, and this is the main issue, you're going to have to deal with a few, let's just call it quirks. First of all, there is no eSIM support on this particular phone. So if you're looking to dual SIM, that's not an option. You're going to have to use a single SIM the entire time and carry maybe a second phone. Also, with this, you might have some 5G band issues in terms of UK compatibility. Now, I'll preface this using a Vodafone SIM in this, no issues at all. But there is talk of potentially some people having the same device and it not working on 5G bands. So make sure you're fully aware of that before it works. Otherwise, we got really good speeds, really good coverage, really good usage out of the Vivo X300 Ultra with our Vodafone SIM here in the UK. Then there's the fact that this phone is actually shipped with no Google Play services. So it will mean you need to sideload things like the Google Play Store, Gboard and Chrome to get yourself started, and none of that will actually come with the phone as you get out of the box. You'll also have potentially some issues with things like Google Pay, which may or may not work depending on your bank. And then Android Auto, again, may or may not work depending on the model of your car and general device support. So factor those in that it may be an issue. The biggest thing I would say is this cost around about £1,000 to import in from China. And effectively you're investing in a phone that will have no support in terms of its warranty in the UK. So if you bought this and you had a problem with, say, some software, or it froze and never was unfreezing potentially, then you'll actually have to ship this back to the manufacturer to get it repaired and then get it shipped back, which can take upwards of a month as a bare minimum. So factor that in there. If you're importing in this phone, there are some limitations. So what's the verdict on the X300 Ultra? Well, you can get a 17 Pro Max, X26 Ultra, X9 Ultra, 17 Ultra, all without the limitations that this current import version of the X300 Ultra has. But what I would say is if you want to save between £400 to £500 and import this in, you'll probably get the most complete camera system currently available on the market in this X300 Ultra, and you're saving a fair bit of money. But factor in, there are some small quirks that can hamper it and some aspects of the menus that you cannot change from Chinese to English. But that's our review of the Vivo X300 Ultra, and that's my thoughts on this particular phone. But let us know in the comment section your thoughts below. Would you import this or not? Be sure to like and subscribe if you find this useful, and until the next one, as always, we out.